It wasn't that long ago that Ford released the 2020 sixth generation Ford Explorer, which was initially met with some mixed feelings in the automotive community about its new styling and features. But now we finally know the pricing across all the trim levels of this new generation, so let's take a closer look at this and let's see how much you're going to have to pony up for the next generation of one of America's best-selling SUVs. Some of you may recall that I did a video not that long ago on the Explorer ST, which is the sporty trim in the new generation of Ford Explorer. So if you want to learn more about that, go ahead and check out that video. It'll be linked up above, and then you can learn a little bit more about what's new in the ST and new in the sixth generation of Explorers. Then you can come back here and we can talk more specifically about pricing in this video. But ultimately in that video, I predicted that the price for the ST model in particular would come in about $55,000, and that was kind of based on looking at the Ford Edge ST, and that premium that fetches over the other models, as well as looking at the competition in terms of price and performance. And now we can confirm that this was actually a pretty accurate prediction. There were some people across the automotive community that were more hopeful and expected a minimal price increase across the board, but that really didn't happen. Most models are going up in the order of a couple $1,000s. Some are going up considerably, but I'd argue that this increase in price is, for the most part, understandable given the upgrades that are coming in the new generation. But let's start at the bottom and work our way up and really break this down. So if we look at the base model Ford Explorer, so that's literally just the base model, no trim, below the XLT, this is actually the only trim that sees a three-figure price increase. It's starting at $33,680, which is up only $400 from 2019. Some of the notable upgrades on this are an increase of horsepower and torque, which are up to 300 and 310 respectively, and it comes with a much improved 10-speed automatic, which really makes it a great upgrade for that fact alone for only $400. However, how often do you even really see these base models? At least at dealerships around me in this area in the Midwest, they really only carry XLTs and up. There's hardly ever any base models at a dealership. So the odds are there's actually not a lot of consumers that would benefit from this small price increase. So if we move up to the much more popular XLT model, that'll cost you $2,275 more, which means the starting price would be $37,750. So for that premium over last year, Ford does include power seats as standard, additional USB ports, and captain chairs in the second row. The infotainment is also supposed to be an upgrade, but we'll have to wait to kind of get hands-on to see how much of an improvement that is. Personally, I think this is a fair increase for this trim level. It's massively popular, and I don't see the $2,200 price increase changing that, especially when you consider this is built on an all-new, much better platform. Next up in the stack is the limited trim. This comes with an upgraded interior, wireless charging, surround view cameras, and rain sensing wipers, all for an increase in price of about $5,365 over last year, bringing the starting price up to $49,225. So this is a pretty big jump, and it definitely shows that Ford is trying to make a push with these upper trim levels into becoming more luxurious and competing at a little bit higher end of a market. So we'll have to really get hands-on with this vehicle and see if the fit and finish and kind of quality throughout the interior really deserves a $50,000 price tag as a starting price on this trim. But we'll get more information on that soon. And if you're interested in upgrading to the hybrid powertrain, that'll cost you another $3,500. You'll start to see a trend here around the limited trim, and as we move into higher trims, that these prices really start to grow more drastically. It's kind of an exponential curve from the base up to the high-end models, so we're only going to see steeper increases as we go. The steepest of which comes with the ST model. So this model has more horsepower and torque than the other trims and is more performance oriented in terms of suspension and brakes and various features throughout the interior and exterior. And it's actually replacing the sport trim of the previous generation. However, now that is an actual ST model, you can expect it to be a little bit more performance oriented and a bit more aggressive than even the previous sports were. And this is reflected in the boost up to 400 horsepower instead of the 365 from before. And this is all through the new 3-liter twin-turbo EcoBoost engine rather than the old 3.5-liter twin-turbo EcoBoost. This engine has actually been seen over on the Lincoln side for a couple of years now, but other than that, it's a new engine to Ford and Lincoln. But as I mentioned, this has the steepest price increase, and it's going to cost you nearly $8,000 more than a 2019 Sport. That means the starting price bumps all the way up to $55,835. So for that money, you're getting the 400 horsepower in the new engine, a much better rear wheel drive base platform, and finally a better transmission with the 10-speed automatic over that pretty dang awful 6-speed automatic that was in the previous generation. Similar to the previous sport trims, the ST also rides lower and has a sportier suspension feeling, has black accents around the exterior and exclusive blacked out wheels, but wow, that's a lot of money. However, like I predicted in the ST video, this is exactly where Ford has to put it. It's a smart move from a business standpoint for Ford because that's just enough performance and value to make sense over the competition that's just below it in the $50,000 range, but it's still cheaper than the SRT offerings, which are able to offer much more performance, but at a much higher premium. So it really fits in a nice spot in the market that personally I think makes a lot of sense. It will likely, however, make some consumers upset or disappointed to see this very steep increase in price. Finally, in the 2020 Explorers, we still have the Platinum trim. This was introduced to the Explorer line back in 2016. This model has exclusive interior upgrades like the quilted leather seats and the leather dashboard and some other options on the interior and exterior to designate it as the more luxurious model. This model makes 365 horsepower, which is the same as the last generation, but it also is getting the new 3-liter V6 rather than the outgoing 3.5 liter. So it has the same engine as the ST, but is detuned to 365 horsepower. But to get all these upgrades on the more luxurious side, you're gonna have to pony up nearly $60,000. This is a huge number, yes, but it's actually only $4,000 or about 7% higher than last generation. So I don't necessarily think it's unreasonable. I do, however, think it's surprising to see a Ford Explorer approach the $60,000 mark, but it is a pretty fair generational price improvement. So that wraps up the pricing announcements, and we are seeing increases across the board, which was expected by most media outlets. The biggest sticker shock really came from the ST model, but we also need to remember that this isn't directly comparable to the sport trim of last generation. It's more aggressive and has really been retuned, so it makes sense that the ST is going to fetch quite a premium over the previous sport models. And like I said, it really does actually fit in a pretty good area in the market, so I expect it to do quite well. I think the price increase on the limited trim may be the one that really is hardest to swallow, and I think that'll actually kind of hurt sales initially. So if you're in the market of buying a new Explorer soon, you might want to wait a little bit on the limited trim, wait for some of those dealer incentives to kick in, because I think some of the sales for that trim in particular are going to hurt at the beginning, given the price increase and the competition in that segment. But ultimately, I'd like to hear your thoughts on pricing and what you think, and if you're in the market for a Ford Explorer or a comparable SUV, what are your thoughts on the pricing and the features of this new 6th generation? There's certainly interesting times ahead for Ford, so make sure you subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with the hottest news across the automotive industry. And if you like this video, give it a like and share it with a friend. We really appreciate your support, and until then, we'll see you in the next video.